We're now live on Facebook as well.
Nice.
So I should be able to set... I was hoping to set it up as an unlisted, but hey, we're just going to be live. I'm not just going to trade
Surprise.
in.
I was worried about that. Yep.
How are volume levels the 1D Wade?
As we all go silent so he can't hear us.
Yeah, that's it. So testing. My end, they look pretty good, to be honest. I still haven't got you a Zencaster link after all this. I've been too busy mucking around.
Oh, so many people just gone live on Twitch.
Oh, really?
Oh, I've got DJ up on half a screen. Snellivision's just gone live on another half. I've got us on... Oh, I'm not going to know what
Don't worry about watching us. It's not worth it.
Oh, just the chat.
I don't think that... I haven't told anyone, so if anyone turns up, I'll be shocked.
Oh, I just got announced in my Discord, so I assume Russell will turn up soon.
Okay. Hey, Braden, have we missed any news? What was the server problem, Sue, with Daytona 24? Let us know in chat so we can talk about it live.
He needs to be on it because he knows about it all.
Well, this is a good thing. He can jump in. He'll just rule my overlays completely, but he can jump in.
It's all right. I made a 4-pack overlays as well. So
I know, but I haven't set it up yet. See, I've got to have 4 people in Discord to be able to set it up. That one, create, copy, and
waiting for Braden to drop into the room.
I'm gonna wreck the stream for a sec, and I just don't care because I've got to give you guys a link for that, and we'll go back to that. So. Apologies, anyone who saw stuff they didn't need to be seen, but we just announced all the cheaters live. Oh, accidentally. Sorry about that. No.
Oops.
Has he just vanished? He's not even talking anymore. Go check out the YouTube channel. Locked On Lads YT. It's live as well. That logo that's up the top right-hand corner there will eventually be a rolling logo of all the people who help us out. So I will get a Sunday Night Lights one and put in there. I'll put Aussie Car in there, obviously, and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
We're just waiting now for McKellar to join Zencaster, and we can go.
Oh, is there a link? Sorry.
Yeah, in the thingy, the doobie whacker.
Okay.
Testing.
Testing.
It's not loading. Hang on.
Should I drop a link in the Discord to say, hey, come join us and test out the thing?
Yeah, do it.
Can someone else do it? Because as soon as I do it, I'll break my thing again.
That link's not working for me. Hang on.
Isn't it?
No. It's coming up blank.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Goes to Zencaster. Thank you for your patience. And then, like, it seems to have all the thing. S1 week 5, 2022, all that.
I've just private messaged you the actual...
Yeah.
Is it the same one? Should be the same one.
Yeah, it is, but it's not working. That is weird.
Do I need to create another one?
I don't know.
Tim got in, okay?
Yeah, I know. I'm just never had this problem before. That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Try again. Oh, I just get. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Yeah,
we're all good now.
Broadcast sharing community. Okay.
Share. So if I share that, no, I don't want to share.
All right. How's that? I think I've got. Yeah, I think I've got lines going.
I'm gonna try and jump this into Robinson is racing.
Put it on the friends zone tab?
This is a YouTube one.
Okay. Oh, you killed it.
Yeah, I know I did. That's what I've got to fix up. I've got to get a button so I can, when I've got to flick around, or I've got to get a second. Oh, hey, Matty, since Braden won't tell us how the volumes are, how are the volumes? Everyone talk, please.
Talking. Hello.
Testing.
Testing.
Yodel, yodel, hee.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
On
otherwise-
Zencaster, it looks like there's a bit of echo with Alex's off everyone else's.
Testing.
You know what that'll be. Hang on. Settings. Microphone.
Mighty says it's good.
It's good. So this is now our backup. We don't need Craig anymore. We will have the YouTube and the Twitch feed to be able to do that.
Good one. Has that echo gone away now?
Testing. I can't see it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, sorry, I had the wrong source. There's a microphone.
Wrong saucy sauce.
Tomato. It's always a safe bet.
Fair. Now, what am I actually doing? I'm going to press record. I need more bloody real estate on this screen because I can't see everything I need to see. Anyway, let's
You'll be right.
do that. Let's do that. Okay, any other news anyone wants to throw in at us? If anything, before we go. Also, I'm not watching Zencaster itself as per se, so if you see any weirdness on there, let me know.
No worries.
Actually, I think I can put it up over here. I can put it right there so I can't see my face 4 times. I don't need that in my life. Okay, everyone's ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome everybody to Locked On iRacing. It is the year 2022. We are in Season 1. We're now at the week 5. We're almost halfway through Season 1 already, and it is going by so quickly. I'm Peter Wilco Wilkinson. I'm joined tonight also by a live audience, but Alex McKellar is joining us again after a week off. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well, thank you. Feeling pumped and ready to go for the surprise live broadcast and taping of the podcast.
I didn't tell anyone this. I just got on 15 minutes early and went, well, let's see how it works. And the other person joining us tonight is the lovely Tim Cornt, who's actually supplied me with the overlay to make this happen. And it looks really good. So thank you, mate. But how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, and the overlay is something just quickly whipped up. But yeah, no, good, mate. Good to be on tonight. And yes, pleasantly surprised by the live feed.
Yeah, it actually works well, considering none of us were ready for it. None of us are dressed for the occasion. None of us are putting on our Sunday bests at all. But anyway, we are live. So thank you, those people who are joining us. We are live on twitch.tv/Locked On Lads is, I think, the YouTube channel. And, the Twitch channel, and Locked On Lads YT over there on YouTube. We are live on both. We will eventually go live on Facebook, but I haven't got that set up just right now, but we will be recording the first part of it live. We will then do the second part off air, but if you want to join us, Tuesday nights, 7:30 to 8 o'clock, we will be live. That's Queensland time, New South Wales time, obviously 8 to 9 o'clock. Aiming for that 7:45 or 8:45, depending on Queensland and New South Wales where you're at. But thank you to everyone who's been listening to the podcast the last couple of weeks. It's been really good to see the numbers follow through. All the people who actually caught young Jay Kennedy's interview as well. The numbers are up on that as well. Thank you to everyone who is making the podcasting not so solo anymore. So it actually feels like we've got an audience now. So it's really good. We had a few people reach out to us to chat with this week. So we do have Brian Borg on from Premier Racing Team to talk about his statement a little bit later that he put out regarding the whole data to leagues after the cheating scandal. So we talked about it on the podcast last week. So stick around for that later on. We have also got a little bit of Daytona 24-hour to chat about, not much. We've also got a possible fix to the cheating scandal in the works officially from iRacing, we found on the forums as well. So that's pretty much all the news we've got. We've got also some Australasian Supercar E-Series results from Raymond Yeager. We've also got obviously Sunday Night Lights coming to you, and the Aussie car Formula Skip Barber and TCR, which I've just realised I don't have access to the sheets, or maybe I do, but hopefully we can work that out by the time we get there. Otherwise, we'll go through the results when we can. But thank you, everyone. We will be now chatting about Brewster Coffee, because he's a legend. So go check it out. He's also got a new website going, which is Passwoodle. I can't even remember what it is, Wordle. So go check that one out as well. But let's get into it. McKellar, we haven't heard from you in 2 weeks, and the going suggestion is that you need to start an audio book series so people can listen to your tunes, your vocals a little bit more. But what have you been up to for the last 2 weeks since we talked to you last?
Oh, a fair bit. Been keeping pretty busy with iRacing stuff, to be honest. Did officials in the skips, of course, at Red Bull Knockhill last week, and then I've already done 2 at Road America today for this round. So yeah, looking forward to doing a few. Got a bit of time this week.
What did you think of Knockhill?
Yeah, interesting. I only ended up doing 1 there, to be honest. I did obviously the Aussie car racing, which I really enjoyed. Posted my races up on YouTube for there because I thought it was a good opportunity to show people how racing could be done there, because I thought the Aussie car round was quite good, very tough to pass there, but certainly my night where I qualified poorly showed that you could make progress through a field, even if it was over 2 races. But the track itself, what a unique challenge, the changes in elevations, the blind cresting apexes, the sheer trust you've got to have in your car going through some of those sectors, and the people around you as well. The drama we saw throughout the week. I watched a lot of the racing on streams throughout the week, and the participation was significantly down on what I would have expected, to the point where you saw a lot of single car splits. And the result was you were seeing cars getting lapped within, these were 27 lap race because it's a sub 60-second lap. Cars were getting lapped within, I'm going to say 5 or less laps. It was that bad. And I saw 6 to 7K drivers coming up on 400 IR drivers and getting taken out and getting dirty on it. But I'm sitting there saying, well, realistically, you've got to know your audience, so to speak, because there's someone there with a 400 IR in a single split. The matchmaking system that iRating is designed to spread the distribution of skill levels across multiple splits. When you've got a single split, it's everyone in there, and you've got to make allowances for that. You're the experienced driver. You're the one with 6+ KI rating. You've got to have the smarts and nous and racecraft to deal with that, and particularly on that kind of circuit where you're seeing everyone going off left, right, and centre. If someone's got 400 I rating and you're lapping them on lap 4 and you get taken out because of what's going on, because you've tried to overtake them through that tough third sector after the chicane, that's on you, my friend. I'm sorry, that's my view, but because there are better ways to do it. But look, the racing itself, there was a brilliant challenge. The Sunday Night Lights race there was fantastic. Honestly, very engaging race to watch and call, and very enjoyable. So I think it's a great skippy track. Plenty of races there. You wouldn't get into 5th gear, and that's, I quite enjoy those in contrast to the GP circuits that I normally like, mate.
So what happened with you and qualifying in race 1 of Aussie Car?
Well, all I did was I just ran out of talent through the first sector, pretty much. I bit off more than I could chew through turn 1. Didn't quite gather it up on the run through turn 2, straight off the kitty litter into the wall on my 4th lap, on my 4th quali lap, which, in a 60-second lap, or, a sub 60-second lap, where the top 20 separated, or top 15 separated by half a second, where you lose out on 3/10 potentially, which is what it was looking like being when I looked at my optimal. You're suddenly going from third or fourth to 11th, and it's a very tough track to pass. So I made sort of, I don't know, 5 or 6 spots in the first race, and then started 5th or 6th and managed to get up to 2nd. So I thought it was a good night out, and was an enjoyable enough pair of races, like I said, to chuck it up on YouTube and had some good feedback about it too.
So what's happened with Alex John in the break? I haven't had him on the podcast to talk to him about it, but he's a league ahead all of a sudden. What's going on? Even Cam Dance can't keep up with him.
Well, here's the thing, and he and I've talked about it probably for the last 3 or so months. He's never driven better in his own mind since he's been on iRacing. And funny, we last night we put up a couple of old clips from about 4 or 5 years ago when AJ first started racing with us, and he and I started coming together, and he punted me on Bathurst, a Bathurst round of super skips, and then Barber brought up his sort of coming out moment where he started, really making some good progress. But to be honest with you, he's had a bit of time away. He's come back with the whole Aussie car thing, and I don't even know if it's a purple patch, but he's in, let's call it career best form, and he's doing great guns, and he does it so unassumingly that no one sort of noticed that he just crept up and won 3 championships.
Exactly, and in the box seat already after 2 rounds. That Knock Hill one, like it wasn't even on the coverage. He was that far ahead most of the time. So the last question I've got for you, because I want to know what's Vasco Sorofsky thinking of his time in Aussie car so far.
Look, I can only put down what happened at Knock Hill, for example, to opening night jitters, and you come into a well-established group, and I talk about the non-verbal conversations during races, but you've got a group that have been part of an ongoing conversation for several seasons, and he's obviously an emotionally intelligent guy. He's socially aware, and he understands that he's going really good in the skips. But hey, this is a new conversation that I'm joining. I don't want to come in and Billy Big Note myself or anything like that. And I think he was, just trying to ease his way into it, so to speak. And he's not an aggressive racer or anything like that. And he just, we went side by side in the opening sector in race 1, and he was on the outside through turn 2 and 3. And, cold tyres just caught him out, and the rest of the night he spent playing catch up. But I think he'll find his feet, and I look forward to racing more with him. I've done some officials with him, and we have a good time, and he's a good racer, good to race with, and I think he'll be a good addition to the crew.
Yeah, definitely. He's a very good racer, so I want to see him go well in that series, and I want to see him hang around. That's the main reason I want to see him go well. So
yeah, absolutely.
More strength in that field, the better. So young Timmy Corn, because we'll get on to McKellar's race last night in a sec. But what have you been up to for last week, mate?
Young Timmy Corn. I think I'm as old as you guys are.
Yeah, you probably are. But you're doing the age a lot better than both of us. Put it that way.
Yeah, it's probably the low resolution screen you're looking at. Look, similar to what I said last week, this week has been all about Aussie car, so I won't go into too much detail about it, but it's all been about Barber Motorsport Park and driving around there and trying to be as quick as we can. It's a tough track in any car, and then you add the fact that the Audis were up to half a second slower than the Hyundais, made it tough, and we had to do what we could do to stay up with them, but it was a tough track. And I think the good thing that we've got three pretty fast drivers, and good drivers in Tim Harris and Braden and myself, and every couple of days we're chucking up times that are 1/10, 2/10, 3/10 faster than each other, and we're just consistently trying to get better every time we get on that track, and I think that's been a really good thing. But that's pretty much been the whole week. Other than that, exciting news, I got bloody tracking advice today from a wheel. So anyone else out there that's expecting Feditech deliveries on the 9th of February, they've come early. Our Christmas has come early, so as long as there's no delivery problems,
there will be delivery problems. I guarantee you right now.
We'll go. We hopefully all things good, I'll have it Friday, but worst case Wednesday next week. So then I can really get stuck into it. I've got one 32-inch screen on there ready to go. I was just checking the heights, but very exciting, and hopefully I'll have a whole weekend to not paint the house. It'll be setting up the rig.
Yeah, well, it's only taking you 5 weeks to get it ready so far, so I'm sure it'll be straight on, ready to go, won't it?
No, well, no. It's a lot more complicated than that. You should know this. It's about getting the right levels of the eyes, and then the steering at the shoulder height, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, no, I'm
Everyone,
looking forward to it. I think I'm on the countdown 12 weeks to go till I can set mine up finally. So
yeah. Well, it's been longer than 5 weeks. The rig's been here for a week and a half, but this was ordered mid-November, end of November, so it's slowly waiting for all the pieces to
arrive. Is this going to make you faster than Braden Martin?
No one's faster than Braden, apparently. It depends what mood he's in. If he's in a good mood, everyone's faster than him. But if he's in a bad mood, he'll be the fastest.
Faster than everyone by about 3 seconds if he's in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, I'm not very fast tonight. I haven't put any practice in. Oh, well, anyway.
Yeah. He'll jump into the Twitch chat in a second and try and respond.
No, he won't. So let's get on to last night. Hold on. I've been racing. I actually hopped in the rig for the first time in a week. Sunday night, actually. So Sim World Racing. I can never get it right. Sim Racing World, one of them. It's the V8 series that we're doing, which I've just noticed if you're listening to the podcast. Roy Clark, you're in Super 2s with us. How good's this going to be from the Banner Alliance? I can't wait. Anyway, so we had our training session. So part of the whole package for the Super 2s, which is the development series for Sim Racing World, which I just looked it up. It is Sim Racing World. They actually got Joshua Thomas in to teach us how to have like a group session, training lesson around Red Bull Ring, and it was good fun. So it was me, Buzzer, and Matthew Mites jumped in, and we also had Brad Wall on there, which is one of the series organisers. So the four of us went around with Josh, and we learnt just the basics of driving a V8 and how to get them consistent, I guess, was what he taught us, and how to also make them fast as well. Then he showed us a little bit of the actual, braking markers and lines and things like that to use around Red Bull specifically. And then we did a few laps and tried to get close to his 1 minute 28, which was not a chance in the world. But yeah, it had a fun time because it was me, Mitesy, and Buzzer all in there having a crack. But definitely good to just get a bit of feedback on how to do it. And I then sat with we put a practice session up afterwards so we could try and get the basics of what he taught happening. And I still can't get it, but what we worked out, we went through the telemetry afterwards with Braden, and I'm doing what I did in the skips. I'm just not braking hard enough, quick enough. So my foot on the brake to when I hit the max is there's a small variance there compared to everyone else, but that small variance means 10, 15, 20 k's an hour by the time you get to the turning point and the apex, and then you're overshooting marks, and you're overcorrecting, and you're braking harder and for longer into the turn and all that kind of stuff. So if I ever get back in the rig again, that's the first thing that I 100% need to practice, which is good to see. But otherwise, learnt taking corners too early, which is something I think I worked out with the skips I was doing as well. So turning in too early, so hitting wrong parts of apexes where I think I'm hitting the right parts of apexes, but not quite getting it, and things like that. So feel a lot more confident in the V8s, which is something I didn't think I'd say 6 months ago, but feeling like I can get the car around a track without too much of a problem of spinning it. It's just not quickly right now. So it's good time at the moment to get into this series, and it's a good series to be in. So if you are interested in driving the V8s at the moment, Sunday night, Sim Racing World starts this Sunday.
Do you think that, what pedals have you got? You got Huskies, don't you?
I've got the Huskies, yeah.
So do you think it could be settings?
It's linear, like it is linear, and this is what Joshua was saying. He just runs linear.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I think everyone else runs linear, but it is I could play around with it, I guess, to get it there quicker, but then I would probably go further unless I tailed it off right. But I would prefer to just get more confident with putting the foot on the brake, and I think that's where it is. It's lacking the confidence of being able to put the foot down on that brake hard and not lock up. So
Yep.
I need to get that confidence, and if I can get that confidence, that's where there'll be a second a lap or half a second a lap or anything like that. So, but yeah, it'll be good. And as we've just heard in chat, there'll be 4 locked on cars racing around in Super 2s this year or this season. So Braden has decided to join us on a Sunday night after harassing him for so long, and he got qualified into Super 2s, and Buzzer, myself, and Matthew Mites. So pretty good locked on contingent coming along in that for the first time in a while. So Buzzer's been racing V8's Fruit by himself for a long time, but he's all moved into his house now and he's ready to go. His sim set up. So yeah, it's going to be really good fun, and I can't wait to practice it. But I'm still itching. I'm waiting for the Coliseum to drop so I can start practicing the cup car around the Coliseum. But I assume that's probably next week, unfortunately.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We're running out of time. But yeah, look, it's all been announced that it's going to happen. So, and all the images are being put out for Ann's cars. So, not to Ann's cars, sorry, for iRacing. So
Yeah.
you would think it's going to be dropping probably after this podcast.
Yeah, I'd say so, 100%. So the other thing that was cool, I just want to shout out to your artwork in particular for the Nazca. So we got it put up on the Ants Car page, and they put a little write-up about it's our rookie season. I didn't put 2 and 2 together till that happened. I'm like, oh, hold on, it is our rookie season for the Cup Series. So here we are, battling it out for Rookie of the Year with about there'll be a few of us, I'd assume, but it'll be good fun. I can't wait.
If we qualify every week.
If we don't qualify, we're still rookies, but we'll get in 1 or 2 races.
No, it should be good. Should be good. Very exciting, and a couple of new tracks in there, which is great. And I think the Ann's car, the way that they're doing the season this year is a little bit different. But they've got a lot of experience. It's 5 years in, so they've learned from some of the mistakes. But there hasn't been many mistakes from what I've been watching. But I think it should be fun.
Yeah, it should be good, and I can't wait. I've got the next thing I've got to do is I've got a SSD over there I've got to install tomorrow on my day off, and hopefully set some stuff up for having more room on this PC that I'm sitting on. So we should be able to announce some stuff and start practicing some stuff. So if you hang around our YouTube and our Twitch channel, you might see some practicey stuff coming up of things we're doing. But can't wait for that. But
I thought you were going to say that you clearing your SSD is going to make you faster.
No, that's definitely not going to happen. It's the only thing that's going to make me faster if I get more confident with that left boot. That is 100% it. Stop being so timid. But anyway, it was interesting. There was a few points where I was steering a little bit more, I guess, than what Braden was. But most of the time, I'm now actually have got that pretty well. I'm blipping really well with the V8 too, which is something Chastity would be proud of. So I'm hitting that 10% mark with the blip almost every time now, which is really good because I did play with the settings, I think I said the other week, and it put me right off. I had a bit of a slower to try and stop the spin, but that was making me only do 8% of the blip. So
just press that macro button. It just does it for you.
Button. Done. No, it's I can't wait this Sunday. The thing I miss the most is actually competitively racing. Like I haven't done it since Skip Barber finished last season, and watching you guys race and as especially as a team, I'm like, I really miss that. So it'd be good Sunday night.
Yeah, I watched that broadcast back from last night, and those Linus Stern locked on cars looked pretty good, didn't they?
It looked amazing. Tim did a beautiful picture. I got to put it out later, but it was almost like they were hunting him as a pack too, because they were ducking in and out behind each other. It looked amazing. So I like to see more of it on the actual broadcast, but it was really good to see, especially in the pro league.
Yeah,
so.
The only hunting that was happening was the Hyundais behind us. It was we knew they were coming. But it was very good. But it was good to have the three of us close to each other because each of us have had a little bit of bad luck over the last couple of races.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the Tin Top Cup and then to this. So tell us about what happened last night. I got to watch bits and pieces of it while I was recording stuff, but what happened, Timmy?
I qualified. Jesus, I had that up before, and now I can't even remember. I qualified.
You did qualify, yes.
Yes, I definitely qualified, and I was actually reasonably happy with my qualifying. I was the highest Audi. Sorry, let me just check. I was checking the Skippy results, not the TCR results. I qualified 8th. So as I said, I was pretty happy with that. It was pretty much all Hyundais in front of me, with the exception of, I think, one Honda, which was Hinzi, and finished 6th, so gained 2 positions. 0X, which I was pretty happy with. But look, I think straight off I had a really good start, picked up I think a 1 or 2 positions straight off the start, and they were just taking over some of the Hyundais. And then the next couple of races, a couple of laps, we were just playing tail to nose for most of the laps. Braden, Tim stayed behind me. We had a Hyundai come through, but we could not stick with the Hyundais. The Hyundais were just so much quicker. And look, I know I'm not the fastest on the grid, but I'm not that much slower. And even through the practice sessions during the week, the times were half a second to 7/10 faster than the Audis were.
Was there a patch at some stage to improve the Hyundai? Is that what there was?
No. The only adjustment was on the Honda.
There was a fix to the Honda, was there?
Yeah, and that was just on the rear. Yeah, the suspension. So, and the Hondas are pretty quick on the right tracks and with the right drivers. If if you've got the right driver, they're pretty switched on, and you can see that from Hinzi. He's consistently in that top 5, top 10. So he's had a bit of bad luck as well. But look, the first race, honestly, as good as well as what we finished, it was a reasonably boring race for us. It was, and the whole track is almost like that because there wasn't a lot of action in race 1 and 2 for us. There was a lot of, as I said, nose to tail. So yeah, look. Finished 6th, happy with that. And then second race, it was inverted and started. So that would make me 7th, was it? Finished 11th and started 5th. Sorry, because it was inverted. So I lost 6 positions. Look, I was a little bit going into it. I hadn't done a lot of strategy around, when to take fuel and when to stop, all that kind of stuff. But I'd put enough in there to get me over halfway, and then we're going through the first couple of laps. I felt like the cars in front of me were holding me up a bit, so it was all very close at the front. And then the guys that finished, obviously in the top 4 positions, top 5 positions, were right on behind us as well. And at the start of every race, you expect a couple of cars to disappear, but it just wasn't happening. So it was just running, lap after lap, and I just thought, I'm being held up here. These Hyundais are going to take me any moment now. There's particularly with that track, with some of the turns and the speeds that you go through some of those turns, and sometimes a couple of guys are a little bit game in taking the faster turns on the inside, and you've got to back off. And I just felt if I had backed off in some of those corners, it would have been a train of cars coming through, and I didn't want to lose 2, 3, 4 positions. So I thought, look, let's pit early and just take the chance, not thinking about some of the ramifications for that. And the ramifications were the temp of the track was getting pretty high, but I'd only taken out 4 or 5 laps of fuel, so we still had another 16 laps of fuel to go. So I had to put another, I think, 15 liters in, 16 liters, something like that in there. I can't remember exact numbers. And then so I've come out, and I said I wasn't switched on. I wasn't thinking about it. Come out, and every single lap from that point on was half a second to 7/10 slower. And it wasn't until I went to bed and thought about it in my dreams that I come out, I had a full tank of petrol, and then I've come out in a hot track. Yes, they were new tyres, but with a full tank, by the time those tyres have come in, the tank's finally gotten down to a reasonable level. You can start doing good times. I've got the tyres down to a 90% wear level, and I was never going to get back down to the times I was. So I just kept losing positions. There was one after another, and then I had a Hyundai catch up to me, and then Hinzi, I could see Hinzi was 4 seconds away, and I was just looking at the deltas, and it was like 0.5 quicker, 0.7 quicker, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then I saw him come up, and I did my best to hold him off for a little bit, but I didn't want to be too forceful. And once he got the right line, I just let it go. But that was it. I just got to the end of the race, and I was pretty disappointed with it, to be honest, because I was definitely faster than that. particularly because I thought I was being a little bit smart with the strategics, but part to get out early and maybe get a bit of space coming out of the pits and when everyone else pitted. But it just unfortunately didn't work out that way. And look, it is what it is. It was fun though. Had an enjoyable race. There was, the incidents were gone compared to the last couple of weeks. It was a really clean race for the large majority of all the races. There's a couple of small ones, but I think generally it was actually a really, really good race. How'd you go, Alex?
Yeah, all right, mate. Just plodded around the back for the most part. I just can't find pace in these things. Not in quali anyway. I feel like my race pace and maybe the pace between the ears of an old head helps a bit as well. But like, I mean, I've raced Skippy for years, and you're so used to side by side and draft. I mean, Road America this week's going to be insane. I signed up for the first race this afternoon. I was in a 6-car pack for like 9 laps. It was nuts, and it was all over the place, right? So I'm used to that kind of stuff, which is fine. We don't normally bang doors, but I'm getting more used to that, and that's okay. But again, qualified up near the back, I think 22nd or something. Moved forward only 5 positions. But the problem with being up there, as it is with any race, is the whole concertinas and the bumps and bruises you get from that. And I'm usually okay at steering clear of that kind of stuff, but I just didn't make any positions out of it like you normally would if you get away with that, particularly in the first race. So. I made a couple. I got up to 17th, I think. Then I just played a very simple strategy game as far as pit stops went. I just split the race in half and figured let the tyres, that's a fair way. I mean, it's like 3 12-lap races or 11-lap races, whatever it was, that way. And I knew what it was like underneath me at that point. So, but the highlight of the night for me was the battle for several laps in the second race. With Stu Crawford. He and I went toe-to-toe and door-to-door for quite a number of laps. And I was talking to him afterwards. I apologised for the penultimate corner. I went up the inside. I probably wasn't there. And then he said, no, look, he pitted on lap 1 and his tyres were gone. So he was understeering terribly. And he felt the door was open and he invited me in. But having said that, it was a little nudge. He picked the car up expertly. Like it was like a cat landing on all fours after being dropped for the second story. It was brilliant. But we then ended up with about a 4-car battle, and I was pumped. I don't know if you go back and watch Ben's stream, because he was streaming with us. We're in the one Discord. You can hear me. I was pumped because I think it was a lap or 2 to go. He and I can't remember who it was were battling through the final corner. And because of Stewart's understeer, was all pushing to the outside. And McKellar, he's just dove underneath and picked up a 2-for-1 straight over under, first time in history. It was just brilliant, So, again, it's like, you play 18 holes of golf every 5 years. It's that one drive that you hit off the tee that keeps you coming back. So, got that taste that people always talk about. It doesn't matter where you are in the field as long as you have a great battle. It could be for first, it could be for last, doesn't matter. It was an enjoyable night out, so it was good.
Are you going to cover off Snell's start?
Oh, that was hilarious. I don't know if you see the clip of the Discord, but the race 2 was outstanding. I didn't see it until afterwards, where we've gone off the line, and you would have heard in the clip, oh, geez, that's a great start. And I go back and look at the clip. He's dead set on the phone as the red lights come on. He's texting away, I think it was to his missus or something. And then he said to me afterwards, as the red lights were on, his leg wasn't even in the cockpit. Right, and then he's swung the leg back in as the lights have gone green and just nailed this start. It was unbelievable. How he had one hand on the steering wheel, he's getting his foot back in the cockpit, and he's just bang straight off the line. It was brilliant. So it was good night had by all, I think.
Yeah, his reaction was the best as well. Just like as soon as he had driven off, he just knew he had pulled one out of the hat, and and he absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, he nailed both starts actually. He's got it sort of figured out. He's in the Audi too, I think. So
yeah.
Look, the interesting thing about it last night, and you're right, the incidents had sort of petered off a little bit. The waterfall, the downhill chicane, the concertina there on that one. I think both races was just a real challenge, but you're going to get that, I think, in any kind of race. And just brought a few people unstuck, myself included. I had optional repairs in the pit stop race, and yeah, look, it's a part of racing and part of rubbing is racing in that sort of league, I think. And but on the whole, I think again for me, certainly race week 1 and race week 3, the driving standards have been pretty good. Race 2, I think we can sort of put behind us and move on.
Yeah, I think watching it this week was a lot more enjoyable because I think the cars were a lot closer. There was a lot more happening, and definitely it was. There was a few times where I looked and there was cars that were connected after the chicane and stuck together and things like that, but racing incidents. Otherwise, it looked really good, and it was good to watch, and the numbers are still good. So, I think the people who are racing together are starting to understand each other, and even you can see in the Discord now afterwards, like the messages after that night were no one was really throwing slack at everyone. It felt a lot more like the Skip Barber series when it started to come good, probably those 3 or 4 seasons in, where it was the apology and no, it's okay, it's fine. There's something else happening, and the back and forth is just I'm just glad we're having fun racing together. So it is good to see that's what's come out of this week, which is really good.
Yeah, it's a good close series too. Like the times across the field aren't that good. Like aren't that sort of disparate. I mean, even someone like me who's up the back in that series. But I quite enjoyed my run at Barber, which is a funny thing to say because it's not an overwhelmingly popular track. But for a car that I don't know about you guys, I get no feedback or sense of the car through the steering wheel in the front wheel drive cars in iRacing, not compared to pretty much everything else. I feel like as soon as I put my foot down in it, it's like I've got a dead wheel, and I don't know, it's weird, but I still did enjoy the racing there, and it's close enough. Like I'm in practice sessions, I seem to be, I don't know, a second and a half off the pace, but come the night, I'm relatively midfield competitive at least, which is something.
Yeah, I think that's something we're seeing too, and especially with the V8s that I'm doing now, there's a very big difference between hot lap pace and race pace. And I know I'm always a good second off what I'm doing when I get that one magical hot lap together, compared to because I'm not going to push that hard lap every single lap. And when I was qualifying for Super 2s, I felt like I was fairly well down the timing grid, and I was at the bottom of the timing grid, or the bottom handful. But when you went back and had a look at people's sort of average times over the time, then it really did show that, well, my average times that I was doing, which was just me trying to stay on the track, were pretty comparable to the average times that everyone else was doing. But then they got the one good lap in, and then all of a sudden that's bumped them up the board. And I think that's something you do see in TCR, and it's something you got to be careful of when you go into league racing and you do practice sessions and all that kind of stuff. Don't be too concerned with other people's one lap pace. Just make sure you're consistent and you stay on the track. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And as you say, one lap pace is very different to race and racecraft pace as well. But yeah, like there's a funny irony in my racing. It doesn't seem to matter what I do. Race 2, I finish like 14th, like every week, and I've bumped up to 13th because of penalties and stuff. But across the line, I'm invariably 14th in race 2 every week. It's nuts.
I remember that line in Skip Barber. I used to always be whatever position it was, and no matter what I could do, it was you couldn't get away from it. And it was always I was always either one spot above or behind Ira, no matter what. To the point of my last season, we go into the final thing either square on points, or I think we were actually square on points for the 11th or 12th season, whatever it was at the end of last season. So. Yeah,
nice. And look, for me, so far so good. Goal was out of 40 something car field to finish inside the top 20, and I've just snuck inside overall in the top 20 so far for the season. So if I can hang on to that, it's goals met.
Yep, definitely. It's been good. It was a bit of a shame. I don't want to remind him of it, but Vernie, watching him just not take the chicane after with cold tyres after being in such a good position in race 2. But other than that, he did a stellar race and even to come back from where he was. So once again, for any, well done. We'll talk a bit more about the results soon. But let's move into what you're all probably here to listen to, which is the news. And then we'll get into the results a little bit later. Don't forget the news is brought to you by lockedonlads.com/Discord. Join our Discord, the one place where you can just be yourself and have fun and not have to worry about anything else going on. You'll get notifications about random times when we go live practicing stuff like a podcast live. But you can also show us your meat and all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty good place to be. So definitely check that out. But let's get into the actual news itself. We've only got a handful of things to talk about, but one of them is significant. So we did talk about the Premier Racing Team statement that they put out last week. It was a thing. It came out. We discussed all that last week. You all listened to our thoughts on it. We did obviously then throw out the message at the end of it in the podcast and said, hey, anyone want to come on and talk about it? We are happy to do that. And Brian Borg from Premier Racing Team, the man behind Premier Racing Team, decided to take us up on that offer. So he came on to discuss what happened. And here is the interview with Brian Borg. Take it away. You guys ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And thanks for that, Brian. Now, for starters, it takes a lot of courage after the comments we made on the podcast last week and the way the community did backlash about said statement last week to come onto a public forum that is a voice-only discussion about something. So well, in our small little community is so volatile at the moment. So thank you, Brian, for taking that step and actually, putting your opinions forward about what the statement meant. I obviously discussed during the interview, and I would like to have had a few others on, but we just couldn't get the timing right. But that's okay. I had the chat with Brian, but we've had a bit of a discussion in the background. But I would like to publicly ask McKellar your thoughts on the situation.
Yeah, look, when he came out with the statement, I thought the backlash was imbalanced. I thought that if you unpack some of the basics of the statement, which was we feel that there's a potential conflict of interest with league owners getting our telemetry and our setups through that, although there's proven out you can produce it without sharing setups. But they felt like there was data sovereignty issues there. That was their data, and sharing it with a league admin who also has either teams in their own league or teams in other leagues of the same category who could take advantage of that potentially, right? And at the same time, they said, happy to give our data to iRacing, who's an impartial authority and have rules around how they manage the data, right? So I was kind of okay with that because there was a channel or a pathway to have that data evaluated and have it brought to light whether there was any nefarious issues going on, right? Having said that, it's hard then not to have questions, right? Because in the absence at that point of anything from iRacing to say, hey, we're looking into it and this is how it'll look like going forward and actions that'll be taken and all the rest of it, the community's left to fend for themselves with regards to sorting it all out, for want of a better term. And these league owners who want to have, manage the perception of how things are run and make sure everything's above board, they want, to look at this stuff and manage their leagues the way they want to. So in short, look, if you don't want to follow the league rules, you don't participate in the league. And if that's the stand you want to take, that's cool. I'm good with that, right? Like I said, I thought the backlash and the immediate shade that was cast on, we must be cheating, is not valid if you have a look at the statement that was made. Having said that, and listening to what Ryan said today in the interview, the one thing where I felt it tripped it up for me was where he said, the onus is on the league folk to show us where I'm cheating and all the rest of it. But at the same time, I'm not going to give them the one thing that will determine my guilt or innocence, right? Because he's leaving them ill-equipped to do that very thing that he's suggesting that they're going to do. So you sort of can't have it both ways, right? My sense of it overall is that iRacing need to, and I think they are working on a solution, but then they need to give us confidence that gives us good coverage so that whole do-it-yourself in the league context thing can just not be an issue anymore. So, yeah, look, the statement, I think if you took the time to look past the surface and unpack it and process it a bit, I'm kind of okay with it. As so long as you're good to your word and you say, well, you know, if you want that from me and I'm not prepared to give you, I'll stand with my conviction and I'll walk away from the league, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think I agree with everything that Alex has said. Look, I think there's a couple of points that, for me, I think roll on from some of the things that Alex said, and I think that, you know, the points that he made early on around not enough data being available for any real judgment to be made on the matter. I think if that was the case, don't release the press release. Don't put the press release out there. Wait, be patient. See what comes out there. Reach out to some of the league owners and see what they're doing. And you know what releasing that press release or their public release last week, would it have really made a difference if they waited a week or 2 weeks? And I think the other part to that, you know, some of these league owners, they're not going to wait for iRacing to want to, you know, analyze and review this data. They don't have time for that. And iRacing don't care about some of these little leagues that are running in Australia. Like even Scops, yeah, absolutely. They're probably, you know, chatting to some of the people that are involved in that on a regular basis. That's probably happening. But are they going to spend the time and invest time into analyzing data for these leagues? It's not going to happen. I think all the leagues needed to make a stance, and they did that. The teams have absolutely got their own right to do that as well, but the problem is that they are the only team to do that. And I love Brian's passion for his team. Like I think there's no question about that. You can see he wears his heart on his sleeve, and it's one of the things he's most proudest of. You can hear that in his voice and the way he talks about it. So he's always going to talk about his team in the best light possible. There's no question about that. But you know, I think there's a couple of things for me that just jumped out, and it's not questioning what he said or, you know, where he sits on the whole cheating scandal. I don't think for a second right now that he was cheating at all. I do not think that at all, and that's just my personal judgment. But you know, he made comment about, you know, teams contacting him directly, but you know, later on saying that no one else has stood up during the process. No one else has put their hand up and said, "Hey, we're not involved. You know, we're not going to share our data. We're not going to, you know, be one of the other teams that are going to stand up and put our point across." I think there's a gap there. Why aren't they doing that? If one team's done it but no one else is doing it, that it just raises questions. It's just, you know, just things that make people's ears prick up. And probably the one other point that, you know, for me that I really wanted to make a point about is that, you know, I think, you know, Brian made a comment about, you know, the Australian community being negative, overall being quite negative, and they need to come together. Look, for me, where they posted that, and they don't have too many other places to post that. As I said, like for me, I said it on the podcast last week. Me, if I was a team owner, I would have been patient. I would have talked to other teams, see if I could have got some kind of collaboration between a multiple amount of teams, and then did something and put something out there on a Facebook page or whatever it was. And I think they would have probably got a better response. It's easy to say that, you know, looking back on it, but for me, I don't think the Australian community, iRacing community, is a negative community. I think the majority of the community are extremely positive. They're engaging, they help each other, and you ask most people, they'll give you assistance, whether it's setups or track assistance or whatever it may be. I think the overall community is generally pretty positive. The problem is their comment was done on Facebook, and Facebook generally is a negative place. Whether you're looking at basketball, whether you're looking at racing, whether you're looking at, you know, a photo that I put up last week of me down the pub or something like that, there's going to be some smart ass or negative comment, and the rest of my friends or iRacing community or the NBA fans in the world are going to jump onto that post and put negative comments in there. That's just generally what happens on Facebook. But what I would say to that is that I've got a list of 15, 20 Discord groups that I'm a part of. Some I participate in, some I just sit back and watch. None of them are negative. And when there's negative comments put in there, the admins get rid of them straight away. So that tells me that the large majority of people are positive and they want to engage and they want to help each other out. And I think that for me is a big point from that whole conversation. And look, that's distracting from what we're talking about in the child cheating scandal. But I think for me, that was the thing that really stood out to me and stuck with me from it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I definitely see, like, being in the interview and then hearing this kind of stuff. I agree with you that when you talk about the majority of people, and it's the silent majority, are positive. It's the negative. It's the echo chamber of the negative Facebook, which is definitely the reference, and it definitely is, and that's the point. That I'm sitting here listening, and then also trying to think in the back of my head. There's no place for cool. You can pop these things in other discords and stuff like that, but that statement, there's no news outlet that's going to take that statement and go with it, because cool, it's this small little niche iRacing thing that's having a bit of a dilemma. They've got their panties in the knot about something. We're not going to waste time on that. There's nowhere to really do that except for the Facebook, which is the problem, I guess. But
well, I asked, do you need to?
No, this is what I think he mentioned at the end. Like, I think the way to go about it was, hey, let's message the individual ones, individual league owners, okay, or just put the question out there. Can we get some clarity about what's happening with our data exactly? What is it that you're looking for? What are you going to do with it if you find it? That's all I want to know, and that's all his end goal was. But he did it the wrong way, which he admitted to.
Yeah. Look, and the thing is, look, again, if I try to walk a mile in the shoes and think, what would I have done in that circumstance? I message the league owner directly and I say, hey, can you give me some clarity? I have some questions and concerns about sharing this data, not because I'm cheating. I want to be able to clear my name. I'm just worried about the term in IT is data sovereignty. I'm worried about the security of my data and what's going to happen with it. What sort of assurances can you give me that my data will not be shared and that sort of thing? And I think that's a very valid question to ask in what some people take particularly very seriously, and they have concerns about it, and that's fine. But to put it up publicly on a platform which is known for its negativity and its polarizing approach to just being a platform and sharing information like that, it's just not how I would do it, and maybe I just walk differently in my walk, but and I think and he'd acknowledge, and it sounded like he did, and when he was talking, that was probably the misstep.
What do you think of the league he talked about, RSRA? That their method where if they find something irregular, they pass it on to iRacing for further reference from their end before anything goes on. Is that the way forward for league owners? Obviously, it's null and void by the time we get to the next point in the news article, but should that have been the stance from the league owners just quickly before we move on from this?
Look, it's really tough for league owners, right? It all emerged so quickly. Yes. How do you have a data protocol? How do you have a protocol to manage this sort of stuff when it's suddenly sprung on you, right? Their immediate response was, we want all the data to start with and we'll work it out as we go along. We know kind of what we're looking for, but these aren't professional organizations necessarily that are set up to manage data and even to, at any sort of scale, consume that sort of data and analyze it, sort of thing. So I think an appropriate thing would be, hey, yeah, we will, if not channel it directly to iRacing as the final arbiter, but to give, like I said, some assurances that the data's safe with us. We will have a quick squeeze to see, under the parameters that we understand, where we can see bodginess, hand it over to iRacing and report it, because they are the final authority. That I think is sensible.
Because I think there's one thing we're also missing right now when I'm talking about it right now is, we're not media trained here in the podcast. Team owners
Obviously.
of iRacing, 100%, most of them, except for the really top level, aren't media trained, aren't social media trained or anything like that trained, let alone writing a document. I've got to stop that. I said loud stuff in my ear from Twitch. Apologies for the face. But the final thing is league owners, definitely. Like, even Scops at the highest level, they're not out there getting media training on how to deal with these things. So when they come to deal with it, they're putting the best option forward that they've got, and they think, cool, this is excellent, but they're not looking at it from 15 million eyes going, okay, well, how can it be taken this way? How can it be taken that way? How can it also be, are we giving everyone every bit of information that we need to give them to make the clear understanding of what we're actually going to do? We're talking about people here who are just doing this as a bit of a hobby, bit of a side business, and they put it out thinking, cool, this is excellent. This is, it says exactly what it is. But then, I read something one way, you read something the other, and then 15 million other people read something completely differently. Is that fair? Like, it's a lot of miscommunication.
It's a tough one, right? There's no board or committee, or there's no charter, there's no operating model. Yeah. There's nothing, right? These people are doing it as a hobby because they want to support a community to have a good time and they enjoy it, right? When does it shift into something that needs all that kind of stuff? It's tough, and when you take away the rule of trust and that everyone comes in with, which something like this will do, and then you try it in the court of Facebook or other sort of social media platforms, it just complicates it very quickly.
Anyway.
I do think that a big part of the league owners' reactions was a bit of a snowball effect, where the drama got put out there, and then everyone reacted without even knowing what they could do about it. They just assumed that something might come, but their first reaction was, let's put a bit of fear out there to say, hey, if you are cheating, we're going to have something, inverted commas, something, but we don't know what that is right now, because it's not as simple as you guys have said. It's not as simple as just looking at data. And I imagine there's probably, from all the Discords, teams that I'm aware of, there's probably one Discord out there with one team, one group of people that can analyze that data and work it out. Beyond iRacing, there's probably one group of people. So that's not many in Australia. So I suspect that, and this goes on to where it goes from here, and I think it follows on from what was on the iRacing forums, and that was iRacing are aware of it. They've got something happening in the background that's going to apparently put a stop to it or a fix to it. And then whatever other reactions come from that happen. But, I also suspect that not much is going to come from it from that point. There'll be just some adjustments in the background that we won't see, and it'll be hush hush and we all move on. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, let's quickly move into the second news article that we've got, which is it got brought to our attention that so Robert Crisdale put in the forums a link to our website, our podcast, which thank you for that, and referencing the time thing. And what is iRacing doing, David, to shut this off? Referencing Macrogate, he calls it. And then David Tucker actually replies, the staff member for iRacing, I have code in the works to improve this. I'm not going to go into the details here, but it is a good fix. So, referencing what Timmy just asked and referencing what Brian was mentioning in the actual interview, McKellar, where do you think iRacing goes with this fix? What's going to happen over the next couple of weeks?
Well, I don't know the practicalities of what they'll implement, right? But I think it's pretty standard not to explain the solution, because by explaining it, you just open up other attack vectors potentially. He strikes me, Mr. Tucker, as a fairly cluey bloke from what I've seen over the years on the forums, just here and there, and pretty passionate about what he does. And so, can I tell you, my limited interactions and dealings with iRacing staff, they are all a pretty passionate crew, and to have this kind of thing come into their world would have shaken them a bit, assuming they didn't know about it and weren't working on it in the background already. But yeah, it's pretty standard practice in my experience not to explain the solution. However, if he's coming in with a level of confidence, the level of technical expertise that I've seen him over the years express, that it gives me a level of confidence that he'll be good to his word and it'll be a good fix. However, is it a permanent all-in-one solution and we can sleep easy at night for the rest of our lives? I don't know. I don't think you can ever get that way in any piece of software. However, one thing that I would like to see in addition to what they're doing, and I get a lot of confidence from David's post there, is just confirmation when it's in, to say, hey, we've done our bit, it's in. You can rest a bit easier now knowing that we've done what we think will help fix the problem. If we can get that, then I'll be okay.
So do you think it's just a note in the in the patch notes for fixed potential exploit to traction control for vehicles that shouldn't have traction control or something along those lines?
Or whatever it is. So they were doing more than just traction control. They're doing braking, blipping. They were doing all there's any number of things that you could do with a series of macros if they've got access to do it, right? Yeah. And if they've done that, I mean, I would like to think that in addition to that, in the background, they're looking at how they could monitor it. And I assume they've got all centralized. I mean, it'd be a massive data, but I got the impression that they have got a massive data on stuff going on in officials and all the rest of it that they control through and identify this stuff with. If the first step is to plug the hole, and then the second step is to make or have the procedures and protocols in where it can be monitored and flagged, and then action taken on, it might be AI driven, it might be whatever it is that flags these things, but then it gets handed over to a human eye to review and then action be taken. As soon as there's a protocol in place, once the initial dam's been plugged, I think we're in a better place.
Yeah, so I see there'd be something in the patch notes, and it'll be something, just a quick note, and you'll those who are looking for it will understand what it's about, and those who aren't looking for it will be like, okay, I don't understand what that's about, but cool, sounds cool. Then there will be some people who won't be racing anymore. You'll just notice that they're either got a different account now, or they're just not racing anymore. I assume they plug and ban at the same time, but maybe they just plug first, and then you see people come slower, and then they disappear. I'm a bit unsure on that, but definitely it's going to be quite silent, as Brian, I think, alluded to in the thing. It'll just be for those who are looking for it will know. Those who aren't looking for it won't have any idea that anything has changed whatsoever.
Yeah, look, and they're not, and my experience, and we've spoken about this off air, my experience in dealing and talking with Nim Cross in the past is they have a no name and shame policy. They don't, if you protest someone and you get your email to say your protest has been looked at, but they won't give you the outcome, unless the individual concerned comes out and says, hey, I got an X week ban, or I've got a chat ban, or I've got a forum ban, whatever it is. You won't necessarily know the outcome unless you're the person concerned. They have a counsel and repent kind of philosophy where they want people to engage with the service in the right way, and they'll give you a little nudge and then a little slap and a tap and try and get you on the right path. But we won't know unless people come out and out themselves who's been affected. We can guess, when so-and-so 2 pops up or another account disappears or whatever, but I think there's danger in that too. Same as trialing by Facebook or any other thing. If we start casting shade without evidence, we're on a bit of a slippery slope, in my view.
Yeah, definitely. So at the end of the day, it's going to be an interesting one, because obviously, we'll never know. We will never know, straight up. The other problem is, it's seen in every other game. You can look at it, Fortnite, Warzone, all that kind of stuff. You plug one hole, 2 others appear, and that will happen. So there's too much money in it not to happen. So someone will be already sitting there trying to work out a different exploit already, just in case, have like 4 or 5 up their sleeve in case something goes along. Tim, did we answer your question? Where do you sit on it?
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry for breaking the news early, though. I
Okay.
apologise for that.
It's called a segue. It's really
It
good.
is, yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
So what do you reckon that's pretty much what's going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I think the suspicions will be out as to who did it, but you can't stop that. And unless people have evidence and start throwing names out there, I don't think those people are going to step up and say anything. But look, to be honest, I actually don't care. I don't care about those people. I just want the fix in so we can just.
Yep.
I want to see a cracking season of Scops ahead of us. I want to see
Yes.
the best drivers getting the best times, and I want it to be close, and I want there to be plenty of action, and I want to see that in every series. I think we all do, but I don't want to go into, a racing series being, having questions in the back of my head going, I know I'm the fastest, but why is Wilco 5 seconds in front of me?
How did Ben Snell get such a good start in TCR? It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. He probably did that with thongs as well.
Yeah, one hand on the beer, one hand on the wheel. Didn't spill a drop either. No, look, that's I 100% agree. I want that. I don't want any shade hanging over anyone. I just want to watch some really good racing, and it's built up to be another cracking year especially when rain drops in the middle of the Bathurst 12 hour. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I love that little thing that went out. I think Trading Paints was calling for it. For the Daytona 24 hour, the patch is already live. The rain's already in there. They're just going to turn it live halfway through the Daytona 24. Would have been classic.
They were talking about it on RaceSpot, and they were like getting live weather reports, and they said there's overcast clouds coming through. It could be the rain coming, and then they had another live update later on saying, "Oh, it's past. I don't think the rain's coming."
Yeah, no,
it was actually really good.
I think you'd have to have the Nürburgring 24 hour. Wouldn't you have that as the potential
first one?
You'd have to think that's it. But I guess mid-year. I reckon you'd want one of the big enduros anyway. Is the big showpiece to show it all off. But I can't wait
you would.
For racing. And yes, we've got so much content coming, and it's just we've got all this dirt stuff coming up. We've got, as the Cowboy in chat said, Winton and Sandown are still on their way, and I think there's still a mystery Australian track that we haven't heard of yet. We've got those Brazilian touring cars or whatever they are, muscle cars. I don't know what they are, but they're coming too. So new Formula One car eventually. Lots of stuff happening.
Hey, who knows? This apparent fix could be coming through in this patch 2 tomorrow.
Yeah. Could be. Look, I really do hope. I hope we get it sooner rather than later, and we can stop talking about this and move on to back to our normal numbers and start talking about just what we've been up to for a lot longer. But anyway, no one here went into Daytona 24. Look, there was some server issues from what I understand. There was a cracking race to be had. Tim has got the best of all of us that watched some of it. I know you watch SVG and Max Verstappen do their stuff, but what happened to Max car? They just power issues or something or other?
Yeah, well, look, I wasn't an expert on the whole 24 hours because I watched parts of it. I did enjoy listening to Hainsey on RaceSpot TV, which was good. He was in fine form. Put Hainsey on a broadcast where he can talk for 6 hours. He's in his element. But look, it was good racing. Most of it was actually pretty clean from what I saw. I watched a fair bit of 6 to 12 and 12 to 18. And yeah, it was actually quite good racing. The coverage was really good as well. But the Team Redline just had a tough day. 2 cars that had major issues. And one of them was obviously Max's, which they had power issues, which cut out. And I think similar issues happened to SVG's car as well. But Max's team, and they were quick too, but they ended up pulling the plug when they had, I think, 14 hours to go. But SVG, I think, got back in and kept in their car and kept racing. And I think they actually pulled back a lap. I think they're down 2 and they were able to pull 1 lap back, which was pretty fine form.
Similar story to what I heard. I sat in our training session, and Josh, who was doing our training, had actually done the 24 with his team. And it was late into the night, and someone they had an incident with a lapped car and spun and got some damage, and they pulled it in. optional repairs. They tried to do a few laps, and she was aero damaged, and it wasn't going to be going very fast. So as a team, they decided, nah, let's just call it there. Let's just go to bed. It's not worth it. He went to bed, and then he woke up to like multiple phone calls missed because he put his phone on silent. One of the guys decided to keep lapping after everyone left, and then all of a sudden he raced like the rest of the night by himself because no one came along, and they came fifth or something in the end. So it's
the other one was actually, now thinking about it, sorry, and I wish I'd got more information on this, was Casey Kerwin's team, because they were down, was it 2 laps, was it? Yeah, 2 laps. And raced back and come back to the front and finished first, was it? Or and they won.
They won their split. They won their
Yeah.
split. I watched I watched him finish the race. Actually, he did like 11 hours in the seat.
11 hours.
Including like the last 3 or 4 stints, or more. Like he just was a machine. And the thing is, the kid comes from an oval background, right? But he's pretty handy, and he's got a really cool head from the little bit of that I've seen of him in the last couple of years. He's really calm and collected in the car, and it was really interesting to watch. But the title of the stream was, "Hey, we're 2 laps down, making a comeback," and sure enough, they're going to win the thing.
And that's what I love at 24, and that's why I would love to have actually got in there. But I think I have to put it on my calendar for either the Ring or next year Daytona. I guess the hard thing with Daytona is it's such a hard time with the Bathurst 12-hour, Daytona 500, everything around the corner. It's a fresh start to the year. Maybe we aim for that mid-year goal, or even Le Mans or something like that. But
yeah, look, if I could recommend anything, it's my personal bias, I guess. I like to lap Nords. I don't like to race it. With multi-class stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's a goat track, single lane goat track, really, when it comes to passing. So it's something like Le Mans or to a lesser extent Daytona, where they're set up to do it, right? There's plenty of space to overtake and faster cars through and all the rest of it. Just do yourself a favour and do one of them. Leave it for the nutters to do the Nords.
Sounds
the other one was, so Braden's put it in Twitch, which is Ken and Kusan did 24 hours for charity straight, apparently. And I don't know if that's true because you never believe what Braden says, but Keenan, I've just done a quick Google, is a editor for Traxion website. So that that lines up with the charity piece as well. But that's insane. Like seriously, 24 hours. Even like Casey Kerwin, I was watching probably the last an hour or 2 hours, and his times were still even after that time, and he looked like he didn't look tired. I won't say he looked like he had about 40 Vs or Red Bulls, but he didn't look like that either. He just looked like he was, woke up at 10 o'clock in the morning, had his Weet-Bix, good to go. Probably not Weet-Bix, Wheaties.
Yeah, I think the big thing to come from it was the sheer amount of teams that actually registered and raced. Like, there was 4 sessions over the weekend, and Braden showed me a thing of there was I think there's about 15 to 20 splits in that one session. It was absolutely crazy. I'm trying to find, I did read somewhere where they had the full stats that
17 over 17,000 drivers.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And there was a couple teams that registered in every single session, all 4 sessions. There was a couple of drivers that registered in every single session as well. It's just crazy. So well done to all those who did compete. And like I said, I can't wait to actually do a full 24-hour one soon. I think we'll definitely try for the 12-hour for the Bathurst. But to go to get 2400 one under our belt. The other last little news without notice, I just remembered, I was just flicking through the iRacing page, was Dale Earnhardt Jr. got inducted into the Nazca Hall of Fame this year as well. And he's obviously currently an executive director of iRacing, so congratulations to Dale Earnhardt Jr. So
yeah, nice job.
Yeah, definitely. So another little notch in the belt for iRacing. We got someone like that behind the wheel, telling him what to do. But
I think he's always been a big supporter of iRacing, to be honest. Yeah, massive. So good.
I'm pretty sure he was one of the ones out at one of the tracks that they remapped after it was long gone. They hadn't raced on it for years, and he actually was one of the guys out there actually pulling the weeds out of the track and helping.
Yeah, nice.
Do it up. So
Wilco, I got those stats. Sorry to go back, but
Yeah, excellent,
Steve
thank you.
Steve Myers' tweet was so 3,911 teams. With this is 15,780 declared drivers across the race session, so I was a few thousand out. 2 teams registered for all 4 sessions, and 7 drivers declared as drivers. Seven declared drivers for 7 drivers declared for all 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And does not account for possibly declared by more than one team. Is that even possible?
Yeah, so what you do is when you start a team event, you say these are the drivers we're going to have. Now, if they don't jump in, that's fine. But as long as you get the minimum from the ones that do jump in. But if you're a member of Locked On Racing, but then you're also a member of Sunday Nights Racing or Top Split Racing, you can register for one session for Sunday Night Lights, and you can register for the next session under Locked On. So you're not technically, they're not counting you as registering twice because you registered for 2 separate teams.
Both teams can register for the same session, right?
Yep.
You can't race for both teams. You can only register for the session as one of your teams.
Yes, right. But you'd have to declare it at the start. So we could declare the 4 of us, and then all of a sudden Tim goes, "No, I'm going to race for Milo. They've declared me as well, and I'm going to go do that," and off you go. So
yeah. As long as you're a member of a team before the team registers for a session, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So let's move on to the results for the local racing series so far. Let's hold on. It's brought to us by Brewster Coffee. Let's go back there again. BREWSTR.coffee. Go check it out. Go rate your local coffee. Go find a new haunt that's right near you that's got some cool coffee that someone else recommends for you. Go do that. Go just share his accounts on Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff helps. Just go click on his website. All that kind of stuff helps. But now we're moving into the results. We are going to talk about Sunday Night Lights first. So what happened, Alex McKellar, in Sunday Night Lights this week?
Yeah, well, we were off to Knock Hill for the first time, as we spoke about earlier. Really enjoyed a good night out. Corey and I enjoyed calling the race. It was quite exciting to watch. First big event of the night was Nagai. Now Nagai pipped off pole by Christian Perez, who's long, for the last, season and a half, had his eyes sort of cast on Nagai's ability to stick it on pole. And just shaking his head because Christian is as good as they get in that car, but he just couldn't beat Nagai's 1 lap pace. And not only did he beat him, but he beat him by 2/10 at a track like that, which was super impressive. So front row was Perez and Pole, who jagged the bonus point in the series that he wants to win most at the moment, ahead of Nagai. Sam Devantier backed up his great performance last week to take out the Red Bull Ring round with third in qualifying, and returning champion Julian O'Fray was fourth. So Devantier, the leading ANZ driver in quali at least. Vasco Sorowski, looking at other ANZ drivers in quali, he stuck it in fifth, which from memory, no, he might have done fourth before. Anyway, his qualification's certainly on the up. I'm just trying to spot the other ANZ drivers because we had a few actually. Darren Tune of Aussie car of renown at the moment, got some good pace in the skips. He qualified 10th. Great to see him there on a Sunday night. Corey Lane was back for the first time this season in 11th. Russell Clark, the third. The Team Milo Bossman qualified in 12th. Mitchell Nichols just behind him in 13th. And then we had Mr. Gardner, who, of course, has joined us in Aussie car as well. He started in 16th. And Mitchell McLeod, the great Aussie streamer, was with us again for the first time this season, having done exactly 0 laps of practice. He was down in 17th off the grid. So the race got away. And can I say, Perez was absolutely the class of the field. By the end of the first lap, he had 6 or 7 tenths gap already, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in that field at that track, it was absolutely the springboard he needed. And, spoiler, the guy drove away from them and just dominated the race. It was really, really impressive. What that did leave, though, was an absolutely exciting battle for the minor places on the podium. And I'm grateful to say that there were two ANZ drivers involved. The Cowboy Sam Devantier and Vasco Sorowski were in it up to their eyeballs, with Julian O'Fray and Naoya Nagai. The really pleasing aspect of the race was to see Nagai actually in their race. We know he's got that startling one-lap pace, but the elbows out racing, which a track like that requires, he hasn't always had on display. But that pack of four was just amazing to watch. The cut and thrust and the different nuances of the conversation in that pack was amazing. Similarly, behind, there was some great racing that actually did include Mr. Clark and some of the other runners in the midfield and Neil Gardner that we know from Aussie Car as well, Nakajima and Tune, and McLeod, who charged up quite a long way in his attempts to move forward in the field after poor qualifying. However, in the end, after an amazing battle, particularly between Devantier and O'Fray, O'Fray often bouncing in and out of this universe. His wife was apparently watching Netflix or something, and he kept disappearing halfway through, like repeatedly. And I spoke to him after the race in the interviews, and he said, "Yeah, I got to have a word to the missus." Anyway, Julian was able to get the move done and was able to finish some 7 seconds behind Christian Perez, mind you, but in second place, ahead of the Cowboy, who after that late move was then caught up battling with Nagai and Sorowski. But Devantier was able to back up his maiden victory at Red Bull Ring with a third place finish, which augurs well for him in the rest of the season as well. And a shout out to Cowboy, who today cracked 7K rating after farming many weeks in the skips. But congratulations, that's a significant milestone. Well done, sir. And just ask him, he's enjoying it a lot. So Perez, O'Fray, Devantier on the podium. Nagai in fourth after having a spectacular exit to the race last week, managed to finish on all fours this week, which was great. Sorowski, after briefly flirting in second position, I think he picked up a slowdown in doing so, and he ended up back in fifth, which was still a solid result for the ANZ driver. The other ANZ drivers in the field, we saw Mitchell Nichols, who started 13th, rise up to 8th, which was a good result, just ahead of, 7th, just ahead of Russell Clark in 8th. Mitchell McLeod similarly rose from 17th, got up to 9th, which was a solid drive for someone who had zero practice. Darren Tune rounded out the top 10, and Neil Gardner did finish out our top Sunday Night Lights point scoring positions in 12th. Corey Lean, unfortunately, similarly light on in practice, bombed out in 19th. Just jumping over to the second split to check on our ANZ regulars, or at least our ANZ drivers. Finishing second behind Daniel Hernandez was Simon Bailey. Nathan Verney grabbed another solid finish in fourth. Matthew Harriott, of course, we know from Aussie Car, he was in fifth. Ken Himes, the great Ken Himes, in eighth. Jeff O'Watch sees us all the way down in ninth this week, but still in the points, just ahead of Jason Willman in 10th. Aaron Gilbert, who's not necessarily familiar to me in Sunday Night Lights terms, but he's finished in 12th to pick up some SNL points. Nicholas Marchese and Jeremy Bush had a sorry night out in 18th, which was unfortunate for him. However, turning our attention to the overall standings so far, Christian Perez, who has stated his objective to win SNL this season, is currently leading on. He's almost, he is actually 20 points ahead of Mitchell Nichols, who's also the leading ANZ driver, sitting in second, which is a great thing after 3 rounds. Now, Nagai, after bombing out last week, is still clinging on to third position, just ahead of the Cowboy Sam Devantier. Those two separated by only a point, both having had a 0-point race. So expect them to continue on if they can get the points continuing to flow. Vasco Sorowski, the next ANZ driver, in 6th. Russell Clark in 8th, which is good early season running for Russell. Ryan Portelli in 9th. Mr. Verney rises 16 positions to launch himself into the top 20 in 11th. At this stage, the great Ken Himes in 13th. Neil Gardner, who is joining us regularly for the first time this season, is in 15th at the moment, just ahead of Paul Wilson in 16th. And Mark Jeffrey, up 37 positions, the highest riser in the top 20 to land in 20th. So next week, off to Road America. Very, very different style of racing to Knock Hill, of course, but looking forward to it equally as much.
We were 100% listening to all that, Alex. 100%.
Look, I try to get through it. There's a lot to cover, but we get there in the end.
For those who haven't caught us, because we didn't tell anyone, LockedOnLads.twitch twitch.tv/LockedOnLads. You can see screen masks going all over Timmy's face and in the background now because someone asked me to, so it took a lot longer than I expected it to.
No one asked you to. All right, no one asked you to. They just made a funny comment. You would just want to run with it, mate.
I did. I did run with it. Let's move on to Aussie's Formula Skip Barber, which went to Daytona at night on the moto track layout, which is a little kinky thing before it comes on to the track again.
Kinky thing, mate.
Yeah,
kinky thing.
Russell's in chat, so we're talking about kinky things again. So what happened in race 1? I can use the spreadsheet now. So it was a Van Diemen Racing 1-2 in old race 1. Ben Snell and Russell Clark getting first and second. Young Alex McKellar coming from 6th on the grid to 3rd was a really good option. We didn't talk about your Formula Skip Barber experience, did we, at the start?
No, look, it was interesting. I'm enjoying the challenge of with Ben and Cameron, and great to see John Scolton. Russell's having a good season as well. Look, and then you throw in the likes of Darren Toon and Neil Gardner, the perennial contender in Sean Doyle. It's a really good mix up there, to be honest with you, and it's been a lot of fun. Personal challenge this season, obviously, to try and beat my teammate, although 2 weeks off makes it a bit easier with work. He's away for a couple of weeks. But the racing there was interesting. I almost put up race 1 replay. I was going to, but I didn't because the broadcast unfortunately missed it. They had technical issues. But it was 5 wide, I think, at the finish there, and it was almost a lottery as to who won it. Ben did his classic under the yellow line back up just in time to cross the line and take the chocolates. But, there was some sideways glances in the Discord, so to speak, on that one, but he managed to get it done. But, yeah, look, and then Cameron and I, after the pit stops, because there was a mistake in the server that it meant fuel was unrestricted, so it really opened up strategy from a fuel perspective at least, a stop perspective. So a few of us went in lap 1 rather than hunting the overcut, which has been so powerful in the last couple of seasons. Cameron came in the lap after us, I think, because without a draft partner, the draft on the straight was worth half a second, no problems. Me
and Braden were in chat watching it live, and as soon as you guys came in, we're like, well, there goes Cameron Dance, unless he reacts really quickly, and he did, and he actually came out ahead as well.
Yeah, he did. So that was good. And then for some reason, it was just Ben and I and Cameron, and then the real interesting complexity thrown into the race was where we came out. We came up on a bunch of cars for position, but cars that hadn't pitted. And Ben was just able to navigate that up to the tune of a second and a half to 2 seconds better than Cameron and I were able to. And I said, oh, Ben, you're gone. But then Cameron and I were able to work together and we got back into the draft with about 3 laps to go, and I thought, oh, here we go, it's on. And then Ben had I think 2 laps before dropped his 1X, so I wasn't worried about it, and just had a cracking run through the bus stop with a strategic 1X, and I had a not as good a run, obviously, and that cost us. And then Cameron and I were left to duke it out between ourselves, and he sat behind a draft pass for the win for the second place. But you know that's part of racing. But the one thing I would say to Cameron, if he's listening, bump drafting's not a thing in the skips, mate. Just saying.
No, anyway. I've proved it is. Me and Mighty were doing it at Dover quite successfully until we got told we weren't allowed to. So.
Well, look, it's high risk, low reward.
It is very high risk. Zero reward.
Yeah, but the other thing, Corey and I did it in a league race. We did this side drafting in a league race, and side drafting is faster.
It's faster.
Around an oval in the skips. So.
Yeah, no, we found that at Le Mans, the side drafting was just superior by far and safer.
Yeah, exactly right.
honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. No, that was
Back
it.
to those results, I guess. So, Ben Snell start first, finish first. Like I said, Clark second, McKellar third, Dance fourth, Shorts fifth. All those names that you threw out there before. Really good effort from everyone there. Race one biggest movers was Brian Sagasar, 14 places from 25th to 11th. Matthew Harriet, 10 places from 23rd to 13th. And Simon Clayson up 8 places, 20th to 12th. Well done to all those people. A few 0Xs in the first one, which was really good. And the fastest lap to Jeremy Bush. Well done. Let's get into race 2 then quickly, which is so we've, as you said there, we had Ben Snell winning ahead of Cameron Dance and Alex McKellar. Yourself, Brian Sagasar, big huge move, starting 25th at race 1, finishing 4th on race 2. Very, very good effort there. So biggest mover of the night for sure. John Schultz starting 5th, finishing 5th. Biggest on Nathan Verney there, ending up in 8th position. Darren Tune again, very consistent night, finishing 7th and 6th, 6th and 7th respectively. So well done to those biggest movers for race 2. Craig Kerman up 11 spots, 25 to 14. Jeremy Bush up 8 spots, 18th to 10th, and Brian Sagasar, like I said, 7 places, 11th to 4th. So well done there. The fastest lap went to Cameron Dance as well. So well done there.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cameron. You can have my draft any day, mate.
As we're aware, Ben Snell winning both races and getting some bonus points there, 101 points for the round. Very well done on taking the round victory. So we go to the overall results, and we currently have Ben Snell leading the championship on 141 points. Is this all right? That's not right.
No, that's his number.
That's
just
his
over
number.
In column
Cool.
F, mate.
There we go. It's too far away,
186.
Vernie. What are you doing with this thing? We missed Martin. This is what I didn't say.
No, that's only Martin's good for one thing.
And that's it. So Ben Snell, 186 points for first. Alex McKellar is back 2 points in second. John Schultz is back 10 points in third at 174. The biggest loser, obviously, was Alex John not being there. There goes his title chances. Otherwise, he was looking really good. Darren Tune's up there in 4th. Cameron Dance in 5th. Neil Gardner in 6th. Russell Clark 7th. Sean Doyle 8th. Tim Harris and Nathan Verney round out the top 10 for the Locked On iRacing podcast. Overall, Road to 2K is apparently Brodie Cook. Still hasn't won it yet, which is a shock, although he does drive a Milo car, so he puts himself out of it every now and then.
To be fair, it's only his second season, isn't it?
I think he's his third now. Anyway, Craig, every time we used to read it, it was always Brodie Cook first, third. But Craig Kerman second, John Snell third, Darren Lassou 4th, Leon Williams 5th, Ashley Knowles 6th, and Jesse White Carrig is 7th. The all-important teams championship unfortunately sees a Van Diemen Racing, Puppy Face and Dog Face 1-2.
Face and Dog Face, I think it is.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it's cat and dog.
Is that what
As in Milo and Otis.
Oh, it is too Milo and Otis. I get it now. Cool. 337 to 302. Top split in third. Locked On iRacing podcast in 4th. White Knuckle 5th. Airways Aviation in 6th, Aussie Car Racing Team in 7th, 8th is Black Sheep Racing, Locked On version, Missed Apex in 9th, Norfolk Chance Racing in 10th, and Locked On Lad is in 11th, unfortunately. So, yes, that is Aussie Car Formula Skip Barber. We're going to go to a new one this week. We are going to hear about the Australasian Supercar E-Series straight from Ryan Yeager's mouth. He's recorded a little piece for us, and I'm going to chuck it in now. And he's going to tell you all about what's been happening with V8 supercars on oval races. Take it away, Raymond. Where can Can I stop that?
Have you got it from Stream Elements? Where have you got it set up, man?
I don't even know anymore. It's not coming through on OBS.
What's
I've
the
got
what?
the stream muted. I've got the stream muted, but
Oh,
yeah, I
yes.
could.
Ah,
Oh. People
Yeah.
are doing the coins and they're coming through in my ear,
Yeah.
and I can't
Yeah,
see
I was
the-
wondering. Yeah, I was wondering why you were reacting to it, and you're saying stuff was happening, but I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, no, it's in my head as it always is. Anyway, let's come back in. I'm moving along. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And thank you so much for that, Raymond Eager. We will look forward to hearing more about the V8 Supercars on the Oval Series and the Australasian Supercar E-Series from you soon. We have got a few more things lined up from a few more people as well, so hopefully they'll come through fairly soon. But until then, let's move on to the Aussie Car Touring Car Championship, or the TTC, or the TCR, whatever you want to call it, the Pro-Am Series. And Tim, have you got this spreadsheet, or is this me? Am I doing this again?
I'll do it if you want. I mean, I don't have the spreadsheet though. I'll just work off the results
I've got the
from.
spreadsheet here. It's all good.
It's
Okay,
in
good,
the
you can
it's
do
in the run sheet, mate. Just click
Oh,
on the.
you can't
yeah.
order it. What are you doing?
It's just a permissions thing.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so for this, well, I went to Catalunya for the Pro-Am Series, and no, round 3 I'm looking at. There we go. We said before, Barber Park. So they went there. Bryce Crawford in the Pro-Am Series started first, finished first. James Blavins started third, finished second. Well done there. And Joshua Barry started 4th and finished 3rd in race 1. Biggest movers for the round, or for the race, was Matthew Harriott up 6 spots, 19th to 13th. Brody Cook up 5 spots, 16th to 11th, notably without Milo Car paint in this series, presumably because he wants to stay on the track, I assume, not crashing.
I think he's fairly due to Iris. He's still working it all out, and don't trigger Russell by talking about the colour of his wheels either.
Okay, no problems. The colour. No, we won't go there. Brian Sagasar again, big mover in TCR as well, 10th to 5th. So well done there for race 1. Fastest lap, Bryce Crawford taking out pole, fastest lap, and a 0x bonus, max points round 1. Well done indeed. We then moved on to race 2, the longer 40-lap race. 40-minute race, sorry, which saw some strategy around the fuel stops as well. In that race, we saw obviously the top 10 inverted as well, which is another big part of it. Brian Sagasar took out first, Brody Shepherd second, John Halloran third, Joshua Barry fourth, Nathan Verney fifth, Farron Hancock sixth, Liam Banks seventh, Jeremy Bush eighth, Max Donnelly 9th, and Brody Cook getting 10th. Big movers in this one. So Max Donnelly, as we always mentioned, up 10 spots. But John Halloran up 12 spots, 15th to 3rd. Very big effort there. Liam Banks as well, 21st, 7th, up 14 places. Very well done. Fastest lap once again to Bryce Crawford, and no pole bonus to worry about there because that's just finishing 10th. Overall for the round for the Pro-Am Series, Brian Sagasar and Brody Shepherd took out the honours, 92 points apiece. Third went to Joshua Barry, from what I can tell. And that is the Pro-Am Series. If we move over to the Pro Series, and we press on that button there. Oh, actually, we should be able to go to Championship, I guess, for the Pro-Am Series. We'll quickly go to the results overall. James Blavins is currently leading the championship by 3 points in Hyundai for Pool Guys Motorsports. Max Donnelly sitting in second, 3 points back. As I said, Jeremy Bush is in third, 4 points further back. In the both of those guys in the Audi. Farron Hancock is in fifth. Well done to him. Aussie car regular. Nathan Verney's in seventh. Brody Cook in eighth. Lachlan Lawler in, this is now saying 12th. There's obviously some, here we go. Okay, so this spreadsheet's all over the place. So Joshua Barry in 4th, Farron Hancock's 5th, Brody Shepherd 6th, Nathan Fernie 7th, Brody Cook 8th, Darren Leslie in 9th, and Jake Burgess and Callum Heinrich. Well done. Callum Heinrich in the top 10, equal their points at the end. Highest placed Audi Honda. Currently looks like it's in 20th. I can't see any better than that. So hopefully we see some Hondas come good in that. Road to 2K, everyone's in the Road to 2K, so it's pretty much identical there. We will go into the teams championships. I don't know how that works, but I do believe it's a locked on 1, 2, 3 once we get it all sorted out. So well done, team, for that.
It's combined with Pro and Pro Am.
Yes. So let's go to Pro. We'll quickly, obviously they went to Barbers and Motorsports Park as well. And Daniel Yeaman, friend of the podcast, was on there last week. Third to first. Marty Turner qualified first but ended up second. And Sebastian Flock started 5th, ended up 3rd. Ashley Norman in 4th, Mitch Dean in 5th, Tim Corn in 6th, beating Braden Martin home in 7th and beating Timmy Harris home in 8th. Nathan Norman in 9th and Reese Gardner finishing out the top 10. Big movers, Simon Mezzomo up 8 spots. Otherwise, there's a handful of 5s from Tom Wilkinson and 1 Alex McKellar and 1 Nathan Norman. Well done. Fastest lap of the race goes to Rhino Sullivan. Well done as well. Race 2. Once again, spreadsheets all over the place, but let's go. Daniel Yeaman in 1st. Reese Gardner in 2nd. Well done. Mitch Dean in 3rd. Rhino Sullivan in 4th. Marty Turner in 5th. Timmy Harris in 6th. Nathan Norman in 7th. Braden Martin in 8th. 9th is Sebastian Flock, who I believe gave Braden Martin a little love tap, but luckily redressed at the end. And then founding at the top 10 was Thomas Hinds. Very well done. Round championship with round win to Daniel Yeaman. Obviously winning both races makes it help. Marty Turner 2nd. And Mitchell Dean 3rd, which then leaves us with the overall championship. Is currently Ryan O'Sullivan in 1st, Sebastian Flock in 2nd, and Braden Martin in 3rd. Obviously, a few notable mentions missing from this because they didn't race, so they've pulled out of the series, one assumes. But 220 points for Ryan O'Sullivan to 206 Sebastian Flock, and then 191 Braden Martin. Daniel Yeaman in 4th, making some big moves there, big points this round. Reese Gardner in 5th, Nathan Norman 6th, Mitch Dean 7th, Thomas Hinds 8th, Timothy Harris in 10th, and 9th has gone missing off my page. So that is where we're at. The overall teams, I click on this button and apparently it's Locked On Lads first, equal with Locked On Black Sheep Racing, equal with Locked On iRacing. Sorry, not equal, but Locked On iRacing is 3rd, High Octane Sim Sports in 4th, Drop Bear Motorsports in 5th, Chicken Up Racing in 6th, Pool Guys Motorsports Green in 7th, Van Diemen Racing in 8th, Tech 1 Sim Sport in 9th, Aussie Karts Penrite Extreme Racing in 10th. And the list goes on. But well done to all those teams that are doing really well in that series. Really good series, really good fun to watch. So I've talked enough.
Do you think IRA combines them with still 5 rounds to go?
Well, I wonder how many people didn't back up because of the 24, to be honest.
I think there's a bit of that.
It might have played a role.
Yep. If he does that, that's 45 cars on the track of varying skill levels. I think that is too much chaos again.
I think the point, part of the point of the Pro-Am series, and I would dearly have loved to have been in it, to be honest, to feel better about my own ego and maybe be a bit closer to the pointy end. Although, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have been at the pointy end. I would have been, just a bit further forward. But you look at the fastest laps in the Pro-Am versus the fastest laps in the pros. It's still quite a big disparity. So I don't think you're doing anyone a favour by combining them necessarily
I think there's
in
too
those
much
numbers.
to watch for the broadcast as well. I think you're putting the Pro-Am guys in a self-contained race that's got no fast guys. It's giving them traction that they would never get. They're watching the
Exposure, they're
broadcast.
getting that experience, they're
Yeah.
getting all that, all that full race day experience that they may
If
not have otherwise got.
if we're 15 in each, or we're 10 in one and 25 in another, I think you 100% do it. But at this stage, there's more value in keeping them apart than putting them together. And as Cal in chat says, he's coming 10th in the championship. It's far less intimidating for him than having to look over his shoulder. I know that feeling, trying to learn and your racecraft, trying to fit into a new league, and then watching over your shoulder for this Alex McKellar and Russell Clark to mow you down when you're trying to hit your apex, and they are 10 times faster than you as well. So,
well, you go, mate.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say that I've certainly had to adjust to learning a whole bunch of new people and who they are and how they race and where I fit in amongst all of that. And I'm still learning that. You throw in another 20 cars in there again and you restart that learning, and it's just, I don't know. I'd like to get through one season, see how we go.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a good chance for someone like Cal to be battling with Alex if they were in the same race. But Vernie makes a good point, and the fix Pro-Am actually have obviously a fixed setup, so there's a little bit of time in the setup, just marginal, but the fuel definitely is probably a second in that with a full tank in and out of your Hyundai.
Yeah. Look, I may as well be running a fixed setup. I've been running the same one every week, so
Sure.
No, I think it's fine the way it's are. Just got to watch those numbers, and I don't think I think where their numbers are right now is good. I think the high numbers are very entertaining, but it also breeds a lot more chaos, which is the entertaining part of it. But it also, there's a bit there that maybe that's not fun for the people in the actual race. So. We'll see. There's a lot of water to go under that bridge yet. Well, I think it's a fairly good start to the season, even with all the stuff that's happening at the moment. Let's wrap this little baby up. We've been talking for way too long. Let's finish with Alex McKellar. Mate, what have you got planned for the next week, and where can people find you? Shout out your stuff.
Yeah, well, doing a bit more Road America, I hope to anyway. But otherwise, check us out on Sunday night. Exclusive announcement to make. I have a new addition to the commentary team that we're trialing out this week. He, newbie, doesn't know what he's doing, never done it before. Mr. Carl Withy joins us.
Hot.
Yeah, really pumped, actually. Corey and I have been doing this forever together, and it's a lot of pressure to back up, when you think we do pretty much the 4 full seasons back to back for the last 5-6 years sort of thing. So add someone extra to the team might take a bit of that pressure off, and someone with Carl's unique perspective and experience, looking forward to seeing how that blends in on the mix on the night. So check that out on Top Split TV on Twitch, 9:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday night, which is GMT plus 11 at the moment. But also, it is an official race, so anyone can join. We score down to 4 splits. We broadcast the top split, and it's a great night out. Strongest strength of field of the week, week in, week out, and some of the best drivers in the world to come and test yourself against. Other than that, mate, I've been continuing to do, I don't know if I mentioned it, lap guides with Christian Perez and Infinite Racing Services. We've had a really good response. Even if I popped into a server today, I had a couple of guys from over the pond in the US saying, "Hey, really enjoying what you're doing," and it was a really big buzz for me to have someone like Leo, whose surname I can never pronounce. Who is honestly, he's right up there with the best in the world. Incredible pace. Like he just drives away from me in almost every race that I do with him. For him to turn around and say, "Hey, I really like what you're doing," that was a really big pump up his tyres sort of moment for me. So, and really quite validating. But Christian as well. I got to tell you, I learned something each and every week just going through his lap, viewing it and then talking about it, and I take stuff away from it and I learn and approach the track each and every week differently. So hopefully if you can have a look at those, people can find them on YouTube at Infinite Racing Services. They've got a whole, it's like a mini VRS thing going. They got Discords and all the rest, but check all that out as well. But even if you just check out this, if you're interested in the skips, it's been really enjoyable and hopefully bring some benefit as well. But that's about it for me, other than, of course, the touring cars and skips this week for Aussie car are at, well, may as well be the oval round at Watkins Glen.
Gotta love it. Tim, what do you got lined up and where can people find you?
So yeah, focus is on Hockenheim for Monday night, Aussie car for enduro round, which is going to be exciting, something a little bit different for this season. So we'll get some laps in for that. And then any spare time, if I get spare time, it'll be possibly I might do some laps in TCRs in the touring cars, fix it up officials if I get some time for it. But the other thing is obviously just hoping this wheel turns up on Friday, because then I'll be knee deep in getting my rig ready to go, and hopefully I can get some laps in before Monday night. Otherwise, I might have to. I might be in for the week after, and then it's all focus on Anscar. Hopefully, the Coliseum gets released. We can do some laps on that, have a bit of fun, and get ready for Daytona. And then I'll be streaming as well. But look, I'll worry about my streaming name once I've got my rig set back up and get it all turned back on again.
Okay, so just so I don't feel, left out in the whole exclusive announcements, it's McKellar's dropping things left, right, and centre. Keep an eye out sometime in the next couple of days for a test stream from Locked On Lads. So Locked On Lads on Twitch, twitch.tv/Locked On Lads, Locked On Lads YT on YouTube. Come help us out. We are going to try and test a little bit of broadcast software and see what we can do with some races going forward. So hopefully we've got some bigger stuff to announce about that soon. But I'm happy to announce we've got like about team of about 6 or 7 or 8 in the background that have been working on this. We're just going to try and get the time together to do a test run or 2 or 3 and see where we're at. And that's what the hard drive's for. So I can put in iRacing back on here, including the software, and actually have what happened to SimSpeed not happened to me, where the hard drive was full and the broadcast couldn't go live. So look, keep an eye out for that. If you are interested in helping us out at all, hit me up on the Discord. Obviously will go in our Discord, lockedonlads.com/Discord, or hit us up on Facebook. Send us a message if you are interested in any kind of way of helping us out. Do broadcasting of some description. It won't be flashy stuff. We're not aiming to be the best on the market. We are just hoping to bring light to a few series that don't have that at the moment. The more hands we get on this project, the better it is for us, because I don't have time to do this permanently, and I don't have time to do this 7 days a week. So the more hands we get on this, the better. So if you are interested, hit us up in one of those locations. I will be streaming again come this Sunday, first race back for 2022 with the V8 Supercar. My rookie debut race in a V8 Supercar. So come watch that carnage on Sunday night, 7 o'clock. I think the race starts, so hopefully the server opens anyway. So some come from about 6:30 on Queensland time, so 7:30 New South Wales time. Locked On Lads on Twitch. We'll have all the chaos of that. 4-car team though, should be good fun. But as Tim alluded to, very, very keen to get ready for the Daytona 500. But obviously a bit of fun at the Coliseum first, the carnage at the Coliseum. It's going to be good fun. So iRacing, drop it so we can have a crack and get practicing. So but yeah, all the support you guys have done over the last couple of weeks has been great. All the new people in Discord has been really good to see as well. Thank you to everyone who joined us live tonight to test it out. It was good fun, and it was great seeing a little bit of chat while we're going on. And it's the reason we keep on going with this. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you my fellow hosts Alex and Tim for helping us out. We'll have a new 2 sitting next to me, might even be a fresh 3, and I might have a night off soon. We'll see how we go. But thank you everyone, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now. We are still live. It's okay, I understand. I've got to
Vernie, I'm in Locked On and I don't know anything about this. What is he talking about?
Really? I did a huge post about it.
Yeah.
Do you want access to the channel where we're talking about it, Vernie? Do you want to help? Oh my god, we had a full a 3-page discussion about it for ages. Jesus. So that's Stencast. Oh, Timmy Harris is over on Facebook. Oh, it's on Facebook, on YouTube. Well done. Thanks for helping us out. Hold on.
I think he's been doing laps.
Loud. Where is that coming from?
Have
That's
you got-
desktop
what do you
audio. So
use?
it's the same audio you guys are on. So I've got to fix that up. I can do voice meter.
Sounds good to me.
I can't hear it. I've got the stream muted, so I don't hear it.
Must be just you, mate.
Cal, can you do that again? It is just me. It's coming through on the same.
So
That
that'll
one
be
there.
on your backup recording if you're going to use the stream as a backup recording, yeah?
Yes, I do need to get rid of it for that. So I just need to mute that channel, which has Google Chrome on it. Okay, so it's muted. I can't hear that anymore, but I don't know whether, if you do it again, Cal, does it actually come through on stream? Because I don't think it will. There's no way I can't hear it without it going through. Timmy, did you hear that on stream, or you won't hear it yet?
No. Oh, Tim Harris. Where's Tim Harris watching it on Facebook?
No, not Facebook. I said the wrong word. YouTube.
Yeah.
Geez, it's going to take some time for my beard to be at that level, is the comment he made on YouTube.
He obviously hasn't watched Ben's stream lately then. Oh, mate, can I tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you, but there was a video, and I can't find it, of Ben drifting, and it was taken from a car that he was drifting with, alongside of, right? And it's camera from the other car, and momentarily you just see this car and this beautiful red flowing head and face full of hair just flow by millimeters from the outside window at whatever speed they were doing. It was just an amazing shot. It was all, and he was doing the full bogan thing. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
So I think it's because I'm using the desktop audio for you guys. I need to actually pull the specific voice meter stream, and that's what it is. And then I can just mute.
Can I tell you? I gave up on voice meter. I just bought a Go XLR. When I started doing this with you guys, I just invested in the hardware.
Yeah.
Whatever, preamp or whatever, and it's just made such a difference. I've got you guys on one channel, I've got the microphone on another channel, anything else, desktop or whatever, it's just on two other channels, and I just hit mute on both of them, and all I have to worry about you guys.
Might be my solution.
I just found voice meter too fiddly, and it was unreliable.
I've got two setups though, so I'll have to get one for each.
Potentially, I'm in the process of building a stream PC, like a dedicated stream PC, just because I've just been enjoying building custom water cooling stuff and all the rest of it, and I had a bit of time to put towards it. But I'm going to have just a dedicated iRacing machine, and then I'll have all this stuff on the other one for streaming and whatever.
Okay, I'll work it out. I've worked it out before. I've had it. I race and I don't hear it. So, but it's on different computers. That's why.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, come on, Braden, just build one, mate, already.
Hey, look, it doesn't have to be, just measure your use for it, right? It can be whatever. It doesn't have to be an earth-killing machine. Just bits and pieces, and put it all together, and away you go.
As a streaming PC, Braden, you don't need a high-end graphics card for it. You don't need the original this PC I was using originally as a streaming PC had a 1050 in it back when 2070s were out.
Yeah,
It's
good luck
cost me
getting on
$150.
CPU anyway. Just CPUs are a lot easier to find, and you don't even need the biggest and greatest of that, really,
Nah.
because it's not running anything. The encoding is all it does, but if that's all it's doing, then nah.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck getting a 3090 at the best of times anyway. But
Oh yeah, without a second mortgage if you do find one.
yeah. Anyway, that's the podcast. How did it go in chat? Let me know. What do you reckon? I said I was only going to do the first half, but we end up doing the whole thing. Every time I try and split the podcast in two, it just doesn't work.
Oh, it was a bit of fun. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah.
Have you?
I thought it was good.
Emotional.
good. The except for the bloody scary mask over my shoulder. It would be good to have. There's two sides to it. It'd be good to have the audio play that we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So that just adds X
half
amount
an
of
hour
time.
or more each
Yeah.
one, right?
See, that's why I was
Yeah.
only going to ever do the first hour, which is the first just us talking about it, and then cut it, and then the rest of it was just going to be we just recorded as normal, and then that was
Yep.
what made sense with doing 2 episodes because you're cutting it and you're doing the live version, and then you're doing the news and results section.
I think the other thing is that if people want to go and hear that portion of it, they just
They
go
have to
listen to the
download
podcast.
it now.
Yeah,
So we get
and
double
that
dip.
was that was my second part. Was you don't want to detract or pull away listeners from the podcast, so it probably gives reason to continue to leave it out.
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing though is that this is another medium that you're adding to your suite or portfolio of
Yeah.
reach into the community. So I don't think one necessarily takes away from the other.
No, I was listening to a
You
podcast.
might get different people here than you do on the podcast.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast today. It's not about, hey, go to my website now and find all my content there. It's about putting your content in front of as many people's eyes or ears as you physically can.
Yeah.
You don't detract by, like, you just basically grab a whole new audience. Like, we've had 11 people. We've got 11 people watching right now, which is
which is good.
Yeah, puts us up higher on. Like, I've got to decide whether we go category of iRacing, which then puts us, if we've got 11 viewers on the category of iRacing, we're one of the higher channels then, and we're getting eyes on. And we're not racing, but we are talking about iRacing. So currently we're on.
I think you put it in iRacing because I certainly look at other games like one that I follow, Escape from Tarkov and whatever. They have podcasts and stuff, and they just chuck it in their own category.
Yeah, that's where I would put it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to work out audio input capture. I'm going to add Discord to it.
See you, Nathan.
Yep, see you, Bernie.
Yeah, see you, Vernie. So if I change that property to okay, can I get one of you guys to talk?
Hello, testing 1 2 3. And if you do it this way, you've got to get used to Russell's comments in chat.
Yeah, I just ignore one. If you are watching, one thing I 100% do. Yeah, there was an echo. That's because I was setting it up. Sorry about that. I basically ignore chat when I podcast because there's a whole thing of if I start talking to chat regularly during the podcast, that person who's listening to the podcast in their car feels isolated because you're not talking to them anymore. You're talking to someone else. So because this is also an MP3 podcast, that's why I try and do that. I'm just trying to work out. I've got it right. Can I test something? If I go mute there, can you test that audio function again where you grab something? Or you use your points?
I've used all my points.
Oh, hold on. I fucked up. Hold on. No.
Oh, there you go.
You're echoing again. Hold on.
No. Sorry, someone else did it. I thought Russ was using it, but it was...
Hold on. It won't work. I've just got to try and fix this up. Why is that coming up there still? I know why. It's all good. So I'll do that. I do that, and I do.
Everyone ignores you, Brayden.
It's AUX I need.
Yeah, it was actually one thing I was thinking of doing was actually streaming me building my rig, but now I'm glad I didn't because I didn't have a day set aside for it. But that rig would took me longer than a day to build.
Okay, so there's a weird thing going on where I've got you guys coming out multiple paths, apparently. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's something I can work out another day. Can I just... They can't hear you. How about now? No, they can't hear you still. I fucked up the audio. Test now?
Testing.
Yeah, that's better. They can hear you now.
You sure?
Oh,
Or are you gonna
apparently
cut me off again?
it's better without you, apparently, they said.
That's not what they said.
He said much better, to be honest. He's back. Yes, he is. Can someone do a redeem something? Actually, can I do it on my end? Can I just automatically redeem something?
Probably, yeah.
I cannot cheer myself. I don't want to cheer. I want to do channel points. Oh, fuck, I can't. Oh, here we go. So...
Excuse me, I want to drive.
Did that go through? Can you hear that on your end?
I can't hear it.
No, but on the stream end.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I can't hear it in my head. I'm just wondering if the stream got it, because it shouldn't have. It's on the stream,
No,
is
it's
it?
on stream. It wasn't before, I think.
No.
What they were saying.
If you're good at something, never
I
do it
can't
for
hear it in my
free.
ears.
Unbelievable.
Nice.
That's it. We fixed it up. We know it. Anyway, yeah, so I'm happy to cut it off at the halfway point, or do you reckon just keep going through? Or we can talk about this in our chat later on, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that was okay, just going through.
Yep.
Okay. No problems. I think that ends the post show. I'm going to start cutting off the stream. So bye-bye, YouTube. You're first to go. See you later. Bye.